In this video, I'm going to discuss the B minor scale, the ways we use it, and its origins. There's a lot of confusion around scales, and I think this is due to the way it's often explained. I like to relate every scale and mode to the major scale. So before we can talk about the B minor scale, we need to talk about the B major scale. And I'm not going to use a key signature here because I want us to actually just see what all of the notes are. So I'm going to write in the B major scale. Start down here, so E, F sharp, G sharp, A sharp, B. Okay, we have 5 sharps in the key of B major. And I'm going to refer to these as the root, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, and 8. Octave, right? I'm going to just put OCT there for octave. Because this 8th note is really just a repeat of the first note, the root. So we have 7 distinct pitches in this B major scale. Make a note that this is a B major. Okay. All right. Root, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh. And so far, I've not notated whether these are major or minor, seconds, thirds, fourths, right? Let's start to discuss that now. First of all, it's really just about counting how many notes we have in the scale. There are specific distances between these notes. If we actually wanted to think of the distance between each of these notes, and as far as steps and half steps go, I would now write that in. Let's go. That would have been it's a whole, right? Whole, half, whole, 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 half. Counting the distance from the first note to the second note. So that distance from the first note to the second note is a whole step. B to C sharp is a whole step. Okay. C sharp to D sharp is a whole step. D sharp to E is a half step. E to F sharp is a whole step. I see the W below the note. F sharp to G sharp is a whole step. G sharp to A sharp is a whole step, and A sharp to B is a half step. Okay. This is the distances between the notes. If we were sitting at a piano or playing a guitar, we would see these distances. I'm going to plug a piano in right now. Let's look at the B major scale. You can see that how close or how far away the notes are. B to C sharp is a whole step. The C sharp to D sharp, whole step. D sharp to E, half step, 1 key away. E to F sharp, whole step, 2 keys away. F sharp to G sharp, 2 keys away. G sharp to A sharp, 2 keys away. And then A sharp to B, 1 key away. So we have 2 spots in this scale that have a half step separating them. This is going to be important because this formula is what is going to get altered, right? And what we're going to play with to come up with different modes and different scales. This is always going to be our home base, though, this B major scale, in order to make alterations to it. I'm always going to reference the major scale. So go back to Dorico. Here's our same scale. I'm going to copy this first version, but now I'm going to write in whether these are major or minor seconds and thirds, because this is really what's going to be super important to understand. And let's go, I'm going to put major 2. Actually, I'm going to use capital letters for major and lowercase for minor. P equals perfect. That's a perfect interval. And an octave, perfect octave. I'll write that because it is a perfect interval. Okay, root, major second, major third, perfect fourth, perfect fifth, major sixth, major seventh, perfect octave. We can make alterations to the major scale, but we're going to reference it against the major scale. I'm going to now create a B minor scale. And the B minor scale has a few alterations to it. Well, we're going to keep this major second, but we're going to have a minor third in it and use this small m for that. We're going to keep the perfect fourth, perfect fifth. We're going to have a minor sixth in it. We're going to have a flat seventh in it. Really, you call it a minor seventh, but I like to list it as a flat seventh. You'll understand more why later, but just now, just into the idea that we refer to the seventh when we lower it. That's a flatted seventh. Basically, I am lowering these intervals that have an M in front of them, right? So if we listen to this B minor scale now, okay, let's compare that to the major scale. Minor. Okay, they relate to each other. They start from the same root of the tonic. They start in the same octave, or they end on the same octave. They both have a perfect fourth and a perfect fifth in them, and a major second. I'm just going to copy the notes that they do share in common. Actually, I didn't mean to select this major sixth. There they are. They share all these same notes in common. It's a modification of the B major scale. That's how we're going to get every B mode, and every variant of a B scale is still relating it but making alterations to the major scale. I'm going to play the B minor scale now on the piano. Just played a flat in there when it should have sharp, but so we have a B, C sharp, it should be a C sharp. There we are. D, okay, that's our minor third. We've taken it down a half step from the major scale. E, this is our perfect fourth. F sharp, that's our perfect fifth. G is our flat sixth, our minor sixth, and A is our flatted seventh, and B is our octave. Now, it's just a little bit of an alteration, because in the major scale we have a major second, then we have the major third here, perfect fourth, then we have the perfect fifth, then we have the major sixth, which is G sharp, we have the major seventh, which is the A sharp, and then B. We really refer to these as the root, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, and we state whether they are major or minor or flatted in front of them. So instead of minor, sometimes people will say, like I wrote for flat 7, they'll say flat 3 or flat 6. It's a shortcut and just a quick way to say it, but flat means basically minor. We're lowering it, right? So we're lowering the pitch by a half step, and that's the main key here. We have a major interval. Let's just say C to E is a major interval, right? But if I lower that, then we have a minor interval. We're flatting the third. We have a minor third, or flat 3. Same thing with the seventh, right? This is a major seventh, and if I lower it a half step, we have a flatted seventh, okay? That's the main thing to remember. Well, we can build chords or a chord from the minor scale, just like we could the major scale. So the major scale, we're going to take our first, third, and fifth intervals, and we're going to make a chord from it. And that is going to be B. And then we're going to have a D sharp and F sharp. Those are the first, third, and fifth intervals from the major scale. This is how we build chords. So there it is. There's our chord built from the major scale. And that is a B major chord. When we write a major chord, we don't have to put anything after it. It's just assumed it's major if it doesn't say anything, right? I'm going to come over here now, and I'm going to write B minor. I'm going to pick the first, the third, and the fifth notes from the B minor scale to make a B minor chord. And this is our B minor chord. With a B minor chord, we could put a small m or write the word minor in it. Either is acceptable. So now we have a B minor chord. They sound different from each other. Let's listen to them back to back. A common observation is that the major chord sounds happy and the minor chord sounds sad. You can make any kind of associations you like with it. That's just a common one. And often people feel like minor chords or minor key signatures, like playing in the key of B minor, is a little darker and has a little bit more of a melancholy sound to it. Well, now that you're getting an understanding of the basics of these two scales, let's give one example in rock music of how you can use them or jump in between them even. If I have a chord, I'm going to call it a B5. because that chord is going to omit the third, and we are really only going to have the B, the root, and the fifth in it. That's our chord. Because we're not playing the third or any other notes in it that might conflict between the major and minor scale, I can use either one of these scales over that B5 chord, which is like a power chord, because the two scales share the two notes that are in the chord. And this is where the fun begins, because we can swap them in and out for just a different sound. So let's say I'm playing a B power chord. B power chord in the left hand, and B major scale on top. Okay, now I'm going to play a B minor scale on top, because it shares these two notes that are in the bass. B major. B minor. B major. B minor. You can hear neither one of them clashes with that chord that's in the left hand, right? B major, B minor, we have a lot of flexibility when it comes to playing these scales over a power chord. Traditionally, if we were playing a B major chord, we would use the B major scale. If we're playing a B minor chord, we'd use the B minor scale. These are called chord scales. So if I'm actually playing a B major voicing, right, there's a full B major voicing there, I'd want to play a B major scale. If I'm playing a B minor chord, we're matching the chord and the scale together. So they have a relationship and share a lot of the same notes, and they can make a good match together. We can also build chords from these scales, starting using the first, third, and fifth notes, the second, fourth, and sixth notes. Right? Basically, you could build triads starting from any of the notes. And we start to label these the 1 chord, 2 chord, 3 chord, 4 chord, 5 chord, 6 chord, 7 chord, and then the tonic again. So the first chord, the 1 chord, is considered the tonic. Let's build some chords. I'm going to start with the B major scale. So 1 chord, and let's go to the 2 chord. C sharp. All right, and let's go to D sharp, F. Let's go to E, and let's go to F sharp, let's go to G sharp, let's go to A sharp, and then we're back to B. Okay. It's a deeper discussion in how we use the 7th chord, so let's not worry about that yet, but let's do right in these chords here. So the 1, and then the 2 is minor, the 3 is minor, the 4 is major, the 5 is major, the 6 is minor, and the 7 is going to be a diminished. So I'm just going to write diminished. Then we're back at the tonic again. If it's a capital Roman numeral, this notates a major chord, and if it is a minor Roman numeral, this notates a minor chord. We see we have the 1 chord is major, 2 is minor, 3 is minor, 4 is major, 5 is major, 6 is minor, and then 7th is diminished. Okay. This changes when we build chords built from the minor scale. Let's build some chords from the B minor scale now. We're going to do B, D, F sharp. We're going to do C sharp, E, G sharp. We're going to do D, F sharp, A. We're going to do E, G sharp, B. We're going to do F sharp, A, C sharp. We're going to do G sharp, B, and then D, A, C sharp, E. And then we're back to B, D, and F sharp again. Okay, now this is going to be a 1 minor, 2 minor, 3 major, 4 major, 5 minor. We have a 6 diminished, the 7 is major, and then we're back at our tonic again. Now I'm going to go through each of these chords and notate on top what the chord actually is. This is B major, we have C sharp minor, we have D sharp major, we have E major, actually it was D sharp minor, we have F sharp major, we have G sharp minor, and then we're back at B again. Let's do the minor. So we have B minor, we have C sharp minor, we have D major, we have E major, we have F sharp minor, we have G sharp diminished, we have A major, and then we're back at B minor again. I left out the A diminished up here, I realize. Let me get this in. A sharp diminished. So now these are chords that are derived from each of these key centers. B major, and then this is a B minor. Okay? If I said I was going to play a 1, 3, 5 progression in B minor, that would mean a B minor chord, a D major chord, and an F sharp minor chord. If I would play a 1, 3, 5 in B major, that would be 1 chord B major, 3 chord D sharp minor, and the 5 chord F sharp major. It gives us different chords that we can use for each of these. Very different sound. So let's listen. I'm gonna play. Actually, let's do like 1, 4, 5. That's a very common progression. Okay, so here's our B major chord. All right. 4 chord is going to be E major. Okay, and our 5 chord is going to be major F sharp major. All right, and then after we go back to 1. Right? Okay. In minor, the first chord would be B minor. Second chord would be major, and the 5 chord would be minor, and then back to the 1 chord. So the 5 chord is minor, right? 5 chord minor, and 1 chord minor. Well, some people decided that that was unsatisfactory because we didn't get the strong resolution that we get in the major key signature of having the 5 chord B major. Though people started making the 5 chord in a minor key major. This is going to relate to the harmonic minor and melodic minor scale. I don't want to throw too much at you at first because I think this is enough to handle. But the first takeaway, or just to get in the back of your mind, often when you're playing in a minor key signature, then we make the 5 chord major. So if we're playing in B minor and we're going to play the 5 chord, which is F sharp, we're going to often make that a major chord. Right? You could think of it as like we're borrowing the 5 chord from the major scale. Has a much stronger resolution. The 5-to-1 resolution, or the 5 chord major to a major 1 chord, or a minor 1 chord is like the strongest resolution there is. It's such a strong cadence. It exists for hundreds of years in music and still is heavily leaned on. This major 5 chord is pulled from the harmonic minor scale. I'm going to write this out for you so you can see what that is. We're going to start with the B. We're going to do C sharp, D, E, F sharp, G, A sharp, B. What's really important in this is we have this A sharp leading tone. This leading tone pushes us back to B. It gives us a strong resolution moving forward to B. This is only one modification to the minor scale because now we have the major 7th. So let's write that out. We have the root, major 2nd, minor 3rd, perfect 4th, perfect 5th, minor 6th, major 7th, and then back to the root again. This is the harmonic minor scale. It's used when we want a strong resolution in a chord progression. It doesn't mean that we always play in harmonic minor, but we often switch into it for cadences and if we're trying to resolve back to the 1 chord. Because the major 7th exists, this A sharp, it gives us a major 5 chord, which, as I mentioned, works strongly going back to our B minor tonic. Right, here's F sharp major. You've heard a million times, right? It's really strong. As opposed to this. And sometimes I do use a minor 5 chord. It doesn't have the same closure to it. That's how cadences were explained to me. They're like closures, right? Closure of a statement. So B minor to F sharp minor doesn't really feel like it has a closure to the statement. But B minor to F sharp major to B minor feels like you're coming to the end. You're finishing up a sentence, right? One way to think about this is in regards really just to the 5 chords. So a lot of the rest of the chords you can use from the regular B minor scale, or B minor key signature, the chords that we've built here. And really it has to do with just the 5 chord. When we're playing the 5 chord, we do have the option to swap in the major 5 chord as opposed to play the minor 5 chord. And that is one of the most popular ways we use the harmonic minor scale. Of course, there's a lot more to unwrap with that and discuss using the melodic minor scale and melodies and other kind of techniques and ways that we can use the harmonic minor scale. That is for another video. But for now, when playing with minor, there's a little bit more to consider, right? We have to consider relating it to the major scale, which you started at the top here, right? And understanding what the roots, the major 2nd, major 3rd, what that intervallic formula is. And then we have to understand what the intervallic formula is of the minor scale. We should know both of those. I have every mode and scale memorized. Well, not every, there's like so many of them. I have all the ones that we use in classical and jazz and modern music memorized. There's always more advanced or different modes that you can use or explore. But I have all the most useful ones, at least for the type of music I play, memorized. And I have these formulas memorized, the root, major 2nd, major 3rd, perfect 4th. Very quickly do the math and figure out what B major or B minor is. Or so if I said we're going to start, I want to play F minor. So I can apply this root, major 2nd, minor 3rd, perfect 4th, perfect 5th, minor 6th, flat 7th, perfect octave, starting from the F note, and I can very quickly figure out what a minor scale is. And I do the same thing with the harmonic minor, right? And that just makes it a lot easier to be able to move through these major and minor or any other modes of Phrygian or Lydian dominant, any of these modes or scales that you're going to get into. Understanding them in an intervallic manner is going to be way quicker and more powerful to remember them. Aside from learning what makes the scales up, using the whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half, I don't use that method as opposed to just really study the distances sometimes between notes and what gives it its flavor. I can also get that info through the intervallic makeup because I understand how far a minor third is from the root, right? So although initially the whole half is good for learning, I much rather think of it as intervals because that's going to relate to building chords, right? And I want to know if I'm at least building a chord from B minor or B major from the root, what is it comprised of? It's comprised of a root, a third, and a fifth. Well, is that a major third or a minor third? I can think about my scale and figure that out, okay? Now, one more note about playing over this B5 chord that I mentioned before, which is a B powerful chord. I mentioned that we could play B major or B minor scales over that chord, and they're not going to clash because the notes are completely in common with each of those scales for the B5 chord, the power chord. B and F sharp is in B major, B and F sharp is in B minor. Well, B and F sharp is also in B harmonic minor. So if I wanted to play a power chord and I wanted to play a scale on top, I could also play harmonic minor. It's got a bit of an exotic sound to it, right? I can play B minor. Play B major. B harmonic minor. A lot of options there to choose different colors. This is where the art comes in, right? You're painting with colors, your sonic colors. So B major, B minor, B harmonic minor, they all have different flavors to them. They're different colors. So you think about the picture that you're trying to paint and then you choose based on that. You try to figure out emotionally, how does B melodic minor emotionally sound different than B minor or B major? You have to develop an association with that, so in your mind you can make a distinction of why you're going to choose whatever scale you're going to choose at a time to help you get across the message that you're trying to say within your music. If you've enjoyed this video, please hit the subscribe button and hit the like button. Leave some comments. I'm happy to answer any questions. If any of this was confusing, I'll be continuing to make more videos in the future. I have a website called Anatomy of Tone. I'm available for private music lessons if you're interested in getting deeper into composition or music theory or recording and engineering, any of the above, or instruments. I play bass, drums, guitar, keyboards. I do synth programming. So until next time.